We are in. We're REMCO Real Talk with my guest, Steve Kempton.
What's going on,
Steve,
my man?
welcome.
How are you?
I feel like you're a little looking around. You're like, this is way more serious than I thought.
I'm just used to like a phone in front of me.
Yeah.
No headphones, no actual microphone. It's a little like clip-on piece that you got from Amazon. And this is the real deal Holyfield.
It is the real deal Holyfield,
like
man. I know. I'm like, this is probably my 12th or 13th episode. So I'm getting more comfortable. But I remember the first time I was like, I had my list of questions and some of the guests. I felt like that made them more nervous. So we're just going to have a combo.
Cool.
And we're just going to talk about you and your life. And if business comes into it, great. We'll go from there.
Cool.
And we met about less than a year ago. I've only known you maybe
a few months now.
Months. Yeah. And I always like to start with your life before your current profession.
Yeah. So
can we get into that PG-13? Yeah.
If my wife's watching, we'll definitely have to chop this down. Now, so graduated from Washington Township High School in 2003, and I was one of almost 800 kids in my graduating class, and the freshman class was the first to break 1,000. So I mean, there was almost 4,000 kids in the high school I went to, involved in sports, involved in activities and different things like that, and then went to college at Rowan, which was one town over. So kind of stayed in that area. Got into DJing randomly. I was a guest at a wedding. I had just broken up with a girl. Her little brother had DJed for the company. The guy said that their name. I walked over. I said, "Hey, how you doing? I'm Steve. I know so-and-so and so-and-so." And he's like, "Do you want a job?" And I was like, I'm over here doing like the Cupid Shuffle. What do you mean?
Yeah,
goes,
Is that what was hot? The Cupid Shuffle
back
was
then?
thing?
Yeah. And he's like, dude, I've seen you on the dance floor. You come over, you talk to me, great personality. He goes, that's what I'm looking for. I didn't know that they had just branched off and started their own company. So they were growing and expanding. They needed talent. And for me, it was just, he's like, you have the personality, the look, the drive, you're sociable. Music, you learn. It's so easy. You can't teach other aspects of the job. So he's like, come with me next weekend. We're doing a singles mixer for Preston and Steve.
No way. Get out of here.
Adelphia's. And I went to that, and I was only 19 years old, and I was able to have a couple drinks because I thought I was 21 with the crowd.
Yeah, sure.
And
Preston and Steve, man.
It was wild. I mean, they had these little to make people feel comfortable and meet. They had them doing karaoke, but acting out scenes from X-rated movies and different things like that, and different kind of games to help people engage. And I was just like, I was instantly hooked. I was like, this is the greatest job in the world. And then we did a wedding the following weekend, which was just bananas. And then from there on out, I was like, cool, I'm in. And we specialized in corporate events and weddings, and would do the occasional bar here and there, but it was mostly weddings, corporate events, family parties. So with doing that and being where I was in college, and then after college, started doing weddings for people and friends and family that I knew, I was prospecting for where I currently am without even knowing.
Of course.
And it's funny how life comes full circle. I graduated college in 2008. It's when the market crashed. So everyone was hiring, not firing. And it was hard for me to get a job with my marketing degree that was going to pay at a level that would offset my DJ money, or I was doing very well DJing.
Yeah, of course.
I'm sitting there saying, you're going to pay me how much when I'm making that much just working on weekends?
Yeah, no thanks.
Having a great time. So it was hard for me to accept a job. So my parents, retired school teachers, very part-time in real estate. They said, why don't you get your license? What's the worst that could happen? And then I got my license, and I was doing both, the real estate and the DJing. And the DJing was just a great way to parlay business without even.
To me, it sounds like a great network, like a networking event. You were going to networking events, but you were getting paid because you were the guy playing the music.
Yep. So people would say, you did our wedding. Can you help us get a house?
Yeah.
You did our wedding. Can you sell our house to get our next house? And it got to a point where my mentor in the real estate world, who I knew through the DJ world, he owned a videography business. He said, there's going to be a time we're going to have to pick one or the other. And you got to be known as Steve's a full-time real estate agent. He doesn't do DJing anymore.
Yeah.
And once I got to my business where I was comfortable stepping away, I started to make that transition. And it kind of clicked when I went to someone's house and they said, hey, babe, the DJ's here. But I was there to list their house.
That's awesome.
And I got in my car.
Well, it's awesome just because you branded yourself so freaking well.
I got in my car. I called Tony. I said, I had the aha moment. It's done. I'm quitting. Full time.
You ever go back? You ever? When's the last time you DJ'd? Now that you're selling all these houses and so successful at real estate.
So when I pulled the plug, I didn't want to keep equipment because I knew every party I would be invited to would be, hey, Steve, come to my kid's birthday party. By the way, could you bring a speaker? You don't have to do anything, just bring a speaker.
So
and it's
funny.
never, yeah, I'm still invited to parties where people are like, hey, you know, the DJ doesn't know games. Could you do games for them? Or like, you know, we have music set up. Could you just do like musical chairs or something? Like,
Right.
you know how to interact with the kids. So, you know, every once in a while I'll jump in and I'll do something fun. But when I decided to end it, I sold everything. So I didn't have that obligation and that, hey, can you bring your equipment and set up and just, you don't have to work. But
Sure.
I knew I would have
Would
to.
that equipment be, I guess, similar to the equipment that's used today? Like, did anything change? Because I know technology is always evolving. Yeah. I only bring that. I mean, you're not like freaking 70-year-old guy over here being like a DJ, but like a couple years back. But music has changed so much. Technology has changed so much. You know, is there?
Yeah, now
did it
I was
become
actually
outdated?
just at a party that my old company was DJing 2 weekends ago.
Okay.
And his whole setup, his mixer, his controller, it's all in one. It's all completely different. I had a box that was this big by this big, and
That's
it had
interesting.
different pieces. So there was the controller, there was the mixer, there was the fader, then there was the CD player, and at the bottom was the CD deck, just in case your laptop died or you didn't have a song, but it was on CD, you could switch it over to different channels. And then a lot of guys went to dual laptops, just in case one ever crashed, you had a backup. So it evolved while I was doing it. The speakers are now went from big boxes to now they're super thin, but their sound is so much better.
So do you think it was harder to be a DJ when you were a DJ?
I got in when everything was digital. So before me, when it was CDs, that was really hard.
That was really hard. Yeah, I could see why.
And it was, you know, one of the guys that I mentored with, we would play a game during dinner or cocktail hour where I would go through his CD deck and I would say, Usher, yeah. And he'd be like, it's a pink CD, October 2000, song 8.
Damn.
And I would go, and I'm like, you got it. He's like, I had to know.
You had to know.
You had to, because when you only have a minute or two in between songs, you had to shuffle through, find it, load it, and then cue it up to mix it in. They had to be on point.
That's
so for me, it was just like typing into a laptop and the song will pop up.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just understanding that you built a brand based on your DJing career, that while you were out DJing, you were simultaneously networking, building relationships, reconnecting. Yeah. You were a realtor at that point in time too?
I got my license in 2010.
Okay.
I started DJing in 05, 06.
Okay.
So it was shortly after, but it was a slow start. I mean, I got licensed in September, October of that year, and then I didn't sell anything that year. But I was at an office that didn't have much mentorship, much guidance for real estate. Then the following year, Tony, who was the videographer who had done real estate, was like, why don't you come and work with me? And I'll train you, I'll coach you. Where I'm in the #1 office for Central 21 at the time.
Wow.
And it was mind-blowing going from one office in the way that they regulated it, and I thought that's how the world was, to going to a high production office and just a whole new world was, you know, exposed to me. And it was just such an eye-opening experience. And then I was able to do both. And I was single. So, you know, I would show houses from 9 a.m. until 2 p.m. And then I would go DJ from 3 until 10 or whatever the hours were. And it was able to work out. And I didn't mind working all day, because then on Monday I knew that if I didn't have to, I wasn't going to DJ anything. And if I didn't want to go to my office, or if I had a slow day, like, I could take my time.
Yeah, take your time.
So the two kind of correlated and worked great back and forth, and it got me in front of people without having to be real estate Steve. It was just, hey, it's Steve coming over to talk about the wedding or DJ this, or we saw them out. He was at this party or this event or this, and it was just a great way to stay in front. And then also social media started booming.
Yeah.
You know, and that Facebook started, I would say, because you needed a college ID when I started on Facebook. I'm older than you.
What?
So to get on the Facebook, you had to have a college email address. So my very first Facebook account was through my college email address.
So many kids would be pissed. No, that's so interesting. But the way that this conversation and the way that kind of your career has started is, you got started with building a network from, I guess, organically through DJing. You were developing relationships. In my mind, you were networking. You were just getting paid for it. And then I love that you went in to sell a house or list a house, and they were like, the DJ's here, and that was your clicking moment.
Yeah.
So, but you know, in 2024, the way that social media is trending and everything, I still feel like the tools that you learned by being a DJ are now required for realtors. Like the Instagram videos, the reels that are online right now. They're so well done. They're so professional done. They have such great music tuned in, like, do you see the similarities between the way that the real estate business is marketed on social versus like maybe some of the things in your DJing days between videographers, photographers, etc.?
Yeah, so I was always comfortable being, whether it's in front of a microphone or in front of a group of people talking. And that was even with going on a listing presentation. There's a lot of agents that are really good real estate agents. They just don't have that push inside of them and that confidence that when they're in front of someone to talk. And it's okay to say no to a client or give rebuttals or just be confident in your presentation. And I feel like that is a huge thing that I had a microphone. I mean, my largest event was for Penn Medicine. There was 1,500 people at the convention center.
You had the microphone.
And I had the microphone for that, teaching the wobble, So being able to talk to that many people or sitting down, talking to a bride and groom about their most, their most important day of their lives, to then sit with a family to sell their home, which is the most important asset that they own. It just kind of correlates, and it definitely gave a confidence that I'm sure wouldn't have been there without the previous career.
That's so interesting. I would love to see some of the realtors the realtors of the Instagram world that are kind of dramatized, the big names, if they could hold a microphone in front of 1,500 people and talk about something, very sentimental.
Yeah, maybe.
That'd be tough. Maybe. I don't know. I think it would be difficult. I think you being able to do that definitely makes you extremely more.
The only downfall that I do see with the Instagram reels and the different videos online is there's a lot of people that are faking it. Yeah. Their production, their level, their this, their that. And I feel like they focus a little too much on the social media and what they look like online instead of actually focusing on what gets them more sales and on a day-to-day basis.
I've noticed a lot of some of the things that you focus on, especially the videos and the reels that you put out. You put out educational content, right? Mm-hmm. So it's one thing to be able to, list a home and make it look good with the videos and making sure that you look proper and whatnot. But then to be able to go on there and explain something like the NAR settlement or actual meat and potatoes of what's going on in the real estate industry is another thing. Because I don't know a lot of realtors who are taking the time to actually educate their viewers.
And you got to do both, because no one's going to go to your page if you're only posting information. Because then you get you get boring. Yeah. It's like, all right, nerd. Like,
it's so true.
Give me something fun. So I always try, and especially my Instagram stories that go away in 24 hours. If I see something wild, I love taking a picture or video. If I'm at a showing and they got pink tile with green carpets and
the honeycomb roof.
Yeah, the honeycomb roof.
That was wild.
It's that kind of stuff, and I call it real estate fails for sale. If I'd see a flip with really bad craftsmanship, but then people know that they can come to me, that it's not only fun, but it's going to be educational. Yeah. So that you're not going to buy. I'm not going to let you buy.
No, but it's entertaining. I mean, that's what social media is for, right? Yeah. To catch their attention, those short little stories that last 24 hours, and to get a laugh out of someone, and then they message you in your DMs, and who knows where that might go.
Absolutely.
So with that being said, without giving too much, I guess, descriptive information on who's property it was or whatnot, what was maybe one of your worst real estate nightmares?
With a
anything. It could be anything.
So this is a funny one. So I had a condo for sale, and I had both the buyer and the seller. And the seller had a ton of photos on this wall. It was decorative. There was, personal photos, there were scripture photos, there were just a whole decorative wall. And the buyer said, well, that's gonna be a lot of nail holes when we get out of here, so I want the wall paint ready.
Okay.
The buyer and seller didn't see eye to eye on a lot of repairs. In the home inspection, I'm trying to be neutral as possible. I'm trying to tell the buyer they're asking for too much. I'm trying to tell the seller, let's just get this done. Maybe we do the X, Y, or Z. A lot of friction. So we go for the walkthrough, and the first time I saw the condo, and they spackled every single nail hole in the entire condo. And when I say that, there was probably 100 spackle smears.
Handyman special.
Yeah, but it was funny because they said we made sure that we made it paint ready.
Yeah.
And we don't want the buyer to come to the walkthrough and say that there's holes or there's this. So they kind of went a little overboard on it. And then the seller, or the buyer, of course, freaked out that now I got to paint the house. And it's like, well, that's what you asked for.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here in the middle of, do I laugh? Do I not laugh? Do I say it's what you asked for? And it was a chuckle after settlement. Everyone I think the tension kind of broke. One person made a comment, and everyone kind of laughed about it. And but that's the hardest part of trying to stay neutral, but also trying to guide each party of, this is really what we got to do, really where we should be, and not offend. Because, for a buyer, it's, are you just trying to get paid and you don't want us to ask for too much and not negotiate enough?
Mm-hmm.
Are you working hard enough for me? And then for a seller, it's, you're just pushing me to do everything so the buyer's happy, so you could get the sale. So it's what's normal, what's not normal, the give and takes, and you just got to fill out the whole situation.
Did it look like crap?
Oh my God, it was awful. Yeah. It was awful.
Did you take pictures?
I did not. I did not.
No, that's interesting. I mean, you have to stay in the middle of both
but
parties.
The flips, especially during the COVID years when things were going super fast, I would have buyers say, "This house looks awesome. Let's just submit an offer." I'm like, "We have to go. I don't care what time of the day it is. I will make myself available. We have to go and check it out."
Yeah.
Especially with flips, because the work and the craftsmanship in some of these are just so terrible that it's like, sometimes you can't even open the refrigerator because it hits the wall, or it hits the cabinets, or you can't open the dishwasher because they didn't put a spacer between them, or the cabinet. I've seen times where the cabinets weren't even or the countertops weren't fastened to the cabinets.
Oh yeah.
There's just so many different things.
But there are some,
you gotta get in there.
There are some, I guess, realtors, some flippers, some investors who would not take the time to go. They'd be okay with just moving forward, not seeing the property.
Just churning and burning.
Some
of them are churning and burning. Some of them are, there's a lot of networking events where these people want to get into the industry and they don't realize how much money or where or how. Every time someone says, "I want to flip houses," I said, "Cool, who are your 5 contractors?" Yeah. I'm like, "Well, I don't have anything yet." I'm like, "Then you can't flip a house." That's the big. And you can't go and pay retail, because if you're paying retail pricing, you priced yourself out of making any money. Mm-hmm. But then they get these people wherever they find them on Craigslist or Handyman or this, that, or other thing, that just say they can do the work and they really can't. Yeah. And either they're not in the area so they can't check on it, or it's just they ran out of money and they just got to hope it sells. Yeah. But there's a lot of bad ones. There's a lot of good ones.
You live and die. So if they were to give you 5 reputable contractors when you ask that question, you'd be like, "Oh, okay." Yeah. And that's good news. But then you kind of live and die by the contractors if you're just getting started, because there's just too much room for error.
That's what I tell everyone that wants to get into investing or flipping or anything. It's, you can't just call people from the yellow pages and hope that you're going to get an okay price and in a timely manner. It's, you got to kind of have these relationships kind of worked out. Are
some of the relationships that you established when you got into real estate, are they still the same in terms of like your contractors, your go-to people?
So I have a form called I Got a Guy. It's just, people have always asked me, "Hey, do you have a plumber? Do you have an electrician? Do you have anything, roofer, window guy, painter?" So I started to say, like, "Yeah, I got a guy for that. I got a guy for that." So I made a database, and it's called Steve's I Got a Guy. That's good. But I update it every year. You should. So as soon as I hear that a contractor is no longer responsive, or one guy left a basement unfinished for 4 months. He started, disappeared because he got other jobs. Yeah,
he's coming
right off. Then came back. Taken off. I've had attorneys that I had to remove. Yeah. I've had title companies where, maybe one starts getting me more business, so they're going to start getting more of the deals. Or, my lender's really the only one that's kind of been tried and true for the whole,
it seems like the realtor-lender relationship is the strongest. Yeah. It's almost like, from what I understand, they need to be working or as available as you are. Yeah. Right. Like
I mean, that's hand in hand. I mean, my lender and I, we talk. Yeah. We were texting as I was walking in here.
Yeah, that's what I would imagine.
7 days a week. Yeah. But it's funny because I talk to lenders and I talk to title companies, and there's agents that are out there that are just about, what can you do for me next, instead of what can we do for each other for the next 20 years.
No, I get that. Yeah, I get that. And it's good that you review that. And I'm sure if you heard enough bad publicity about one of those people on your I Got a Guy list, that you would make the move if it wasn't in a year. But I think that's smart, and it's a valuable list. Yeah. That list is, it's.
And I'm always trying to expand on it. I'm always trying to grow on it. If I can have 2 or 3 landscapers, because people get busy, and I'm totally fine with that. Yeah. So if landscaper A is booked up for 2 months and you want a job done, but landscaper B is available, I want to have trusted people on my list for you.
Mm-hmm. So with I guess real estate in general, where do you see it going? Like within the next 2 to 5 years, do you see any crazy change?
So COVID election year, election year is definitely, we believe, has been a reason for buyer activity to slow down. Mm-hmm. Ever since July, there's been more price reductions in the market than since the beginning of COVID. So we're starting to see some properties sit. If they're not A+ properties, they're going to sit, or if they're not priced appropriately. Mm-hmm. So we're starting to see that. The buyers that had to buy, whether the rates were 5, 6, 7, or 8, last year, they bought. Yeah. Same with this year. If they had to buy, they bought. If they don't have to buy, we're starting to see them be a little bit more particular. It's kind of the people that had to go, went, and now it's not necessarily casual shoppers, but the not so urgent buyers are the ones that are kind of left right now in the marketplace, and they're keeping an eye. They're looking at houses, but if it's not a premium house in a premium location at a good price, they're going to say, okay, we can wait for the next one, or we can wait for a price reduction, or we can wait for this, that, other thing, because, rates are still in the high sixes. I think everyone's mentality is the election could make them come down.
Is that true?
No,
I didn't think so.
No, the president has nothing to do with interest rates. So that's one thing. Another thing is just the bottlenecking of inventory. So a lot of boomers aren't downsizing just because the price of 55 and olders are so expensive.
Ridiculous. I mean, you saw Philmont, right?
Yeah.
Philmont played some golf, but $900,000 for a 1,500 square foot.
And how do you downsize that? It's you better be coming from a 1.5 or a 1.2 million downsizing that. In my marketplace, their new constructions are going for $500,000. But a lot of people are selling $375,000 or $400,000 houses that they've been in for the past 25 years.
Sure.
And they're like, okay, like if I'm selling my home, I want to go to something new, and then that'll be my next home for, however long I have left. But they're taking a mortgage out, and they're like, it's not retirement. That's not downsizing to sell my largest asset to then go buy something that's more money. Yeah. So it's kind of bottlenecking.
I can see that.
The inventory.
That makes really good sense.
Because then the millennial buyer that needs to buy their next forever home, it's not available because the boomer's not selling it to them.
Exactly.
Because they have nowhere to go.
They should just all have a real serious conversation. Like, we're all gonna sell.
You're gonna get that one. You're gonna get that one. And we're all just gonna swap.
What about the quality of the homes being built? So Lennar is the builder for my community. It's a newer community. I think they broke ground in 2016. They just finished the last townhome last year. When they were building it, they built it so fast.
Yeah.
Like fast, like pieces of a puzzle getting put together. Philmont's townhomes are being built the same way. I know, there's Ryan Homes is another big builder in Jersey.
They're big by us.
They're just like putting these puzzle pieces together. I mean, quality of the home. Are you seeing any of your homes that you're selling or?
So with new construction, Ryan Homes kind of found their niche with the townhouses, and again, it's like you said, it's they know and their contractors know. This goes here, this goes here, this goes here. We're done. But they're very cookie cutter. They're very generic. They're very plain Jane. Their townhouses aren't terrible. They're open concept, but their single family homes I've found have been very just meh. There's no character to them. Their front doors are kind of just a steel front door. They don't have, the side panels and all the accents, and they don't have the bay windows. And when you get inside, it's just kind of like room. There's a couple other builders that are kind of doing the same thing. What I'm amazed at is the price for the size. So I was showing some down in Vineland and a couple in Williamstown, and $500,000 gets you 1,700 square feet. That's it. And you kind of walk in, there's a front room that could be an office or a dining room or a living room, and then across the back is kind of a kitchen and a family room, and then that's really it, and a garage. It's like that's all you're getting.
It's crazy.
There's no living space. There's no. And a lot of people say they want the open concept, but it's got to be a little bit more grand and big if you want that to be your own 100%, living space. And then you kind of go upstairs and you got a couple bedrooms and that's it. And it's like, you want $500,000 for this.
And they build up, right? They're like, I mean, they all have at least 30 stairs in them, and for, I guess they're good for the younger population. But if, some of them don't have elevators in them, I mean, if you buy the home when you're in your 40s and 50s and now you're 60, 70 and you can't even get up to your second floor because you can't take the stairs. Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing like a lot. They're kind of just building them based on maximizing square footage. Like you said, 15, 16, 1,700 straight up, but they can build, 350 plus doors in a small lot.
Yep.
So
and that's what it's about for them.
That is what it's about.
A lot more doors. And the townhouses are selling for $400,000. It's
you
could put a whole bunch of them in one spot. You could put 3 of them, or you could put one house.
Yeah.
So they're just maximizing what they can get out of it.
So with I guess land being a hot commodity and not making any more land. I mean, do you deal with a lot of land buys? Do you know anyone in the area who does? Yeah,
I do know there are guys out there. Dave Beach is an agent in my office. He does a great job. He works with a builder, a guy that does a lot of spot builds, and they'll find tracks here and there. It's a very niche kind of thing to do. You got to know it. You got to know the municipalities. You got to know the usage. You got to know if it's going to be approved, not approved, what to look for.
Yeah.
So it's a very specific kind of
thing. Would deal really close with the real estate attorneys.
Yeah.
They would be like hand in hand, making sure that zoning and all that kind of stuff is checks and balances. Yeah, that's always so interesting. Yeah. It's like they'll build more houses, but they're never going to build more land.
Yeah.
So
I think that's why these complexes are becoming more and more popular. A lot of them are now having strip malls or some kind of storefronts on the first floor and then going up, or in the front of it, the complex. Like where we did that networking event with Death of the Fox. You know, there's a whole strip mall of all little shops and businesses in front, and then you have the townhouses behind it, and they build these little community centers. And I think it's a great idea, because when we were there for our networking event, there's people coming in sweatpants grabbing coffee from the place. You know, it's great. Yeah, that's true. It's my townhouse is here. I'm gonna go grab a Danish and a coffee, and I can just walk right over my sweatpants. It's so you kind of get that little community, and I can see how attractive and appealing that can be. But then the need for the single family it's growing more and more.
Interesting. So you know, we talked about DJing, we talked about real estate. What are some things that I guess you have on your radar for the next couple of years, just whether that's business-wise, personally? What do you have?
So business-wise, just always trying to grow, always trying to make new connections. You know, I've
no agents though, right? Just you?
Yeah, just me.
Yeah, that's also something fascinating.
For the past 14 years of my career, I've never prospected. I've never cold called. I've never really sent a lot of mailers, never sent online ads. I never kind of spent money in those ways. I'd rather spend my money on my database, my clients. We do client appreciation events.
I think
we did a happy hour. We just did a hayride and pumpkin picking that we do we've done that for 10 years now, and they absolutely love that. So it's just trying to organically grow and maintain the level of business that I want to be at. I also bought into a company called Sweet Life. So we own individual office spaces, all inclusive. So kind of like the space that we're in now. You know, you can be a salon, you could be a beautician, you can be an attorney, you could be any kind of business that just needs a small office space. We now offer that. So we have a couple of locations, always trying to grow on that too. And what's great for that is I'm just strictly an investor. And
that's great. I think that's fantastic.
I don't have to deal with the management. I own a bunch of rentals with a partner, some of my own. Always looking to grow that database, but you know, it's just trying to grow as stress-free as possible, so then my family can get the best version of me. You know, I got a wife and 2 boys. They're going to be 4 and 2 shortly. They are wild boys. They're starting to get involved. There's sports now and karate and birthday parties and friends events, and I feel like every weekend we got to go from this to this to that to this, and it's awesome, man.
You said you were running around all weekend?
All weekend. It was just kid stuff. But it's fun, you know.
That's good.
Seeing them have so much fun. I showed up as Blippi to my son's
Saw that.
No one knew I was doing. My wife didn't even know.
Yeah.
So I showed up, and his whole class was like, Blippi.
Yeah.
You know, it was cool.
You dressed it to the nines. Yeah. You looked great at it.
Yeah.
So no one knew?
No one knew. Not even my wife.
Did you have to get clearance?
No. It was just kind of.
Someone call the cops.
No, as soon as I opened the door, the girl at the front desk is like, "Oh my God, I can't believe," because they all know me there.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
My sons have been there for years now, so they're just like, only you.
And what were there? So it was just a bunch of photo taking and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
and it was for Halloween.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
It was a great time.
Yeah. So giving the best version of yourself, I think that's great. I mean, because you have a lot of realtors who, you know, they've been in the industry or they've been as successful as you have, and it's like then they start building their team. So that's something that you don't personally feel like you would want to do.
You know, it's not in the cards for me right now. I've always kind of been against the team for myself, just because when people call me, they want me.
Yeah, I respect that.
So for me to do a team, it would just be straight mentorship to an agent. I wouldn't want to ever pass anyone off to them, because I always want anyone that calls me to get me.
Okay.
And I've gotten business from other people that have said, you know, I called for so-and-so, and then they passed me off to this agent, or they passed me off to this processor. And I just felt like, well, I called for you. I want you.
Yeah. No,
so I always wanted that to be, when you call Steve, you get Steve South Church. Like, that's all you get. I don't have a processor. I don't have an admin. I don't have agents that I'm passing you off to. It's me 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. So then it would just be straight mentorship. And it's, do I want to do mentorship for agents underneath me? As of right now, that's not something that I see myself doing.
No, that's respectable. I can't hate on the one-on-one interaction. You get you when they call, and then they get all of you. And, you know, I think that, I guess just in time, as, you know, the kids get older and, you know, your personal life, it continues to evolve. As long as you can manifest and balance all that, then I think that's probably the most successful way, because you will never have a dissatisfied customer if, you know, you yourself are dealing with them. There's no one really else to.
Yeah, and I tell everyone, you know, because I have people ask me, well, how do I know I'm going to get you? There's enough time in the day? Like, there's always enough time in the day. You know, it's My phone always kind of goes in waves. My wife always laughs from 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock seems to be the busiest time that my phone's ringing. And of course, it's right when the kids and my wife get home from school. Yeah. During the day, it's a lot of processing stuff in the morning. And then I always see that lull from 12 to 2. And then I guess it's when people start getting back to their emails or back to the next thing, or people start getting slow down at their personal jobs where your clients are reaching out to you, or then it starts ramping up again. But it's, I'm going to call you back. I don't care if it's 7 o'clock. We'll get on a call and we'll touch base and make sure that any questions you have are answered. And weekends, it's listen. You want to jump on a call? Let's jump on a call. We'll find 10 minutes.
Do you network with, or do you have clients that stem back to the Washington high school days?
Everything is
Washington Township days.
Yeah, we call it Township where we're from.
That's what you're saying.
It's all the towns around us always hated it growing up. They're like, "Oh, your township." It was kind of like,
I don't know. That sounds like,
they knocked it.
Yeah,
but it's we're Township, man.
I know a lot. I found out through the grapevine like how you guys, a lot of the businesses, a lot of the people that know each other here. It's like Washington Township, and Paul VI.
Yeah,
so that's another big one.
Is
that the Catholic school?
Yeah.
So you guys did you guys
They always had a good baseball team.
They had a good baseball team.
Yeah. Yeah, they were kind of smaller in the other sports, so they weren't always great with the other sports, but they always had a pretty good baseball team.
Yeah. How long have you been playing golf?
Randomly in high school, then it picked up a lot more in college years. So graduated in 2008 and it's 24, so almost 20 years. And
got a good swing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's sometimes it can keep it controlled and it stays in play and things click and go pretty good. It's the hardest part with golf is just the consistency and the touch around the greens. I mean, you could drive the ball 275, but what are you going to do with the next couple shots to get it in the hole? And that
such a simple game.
It could be.
It's in theory.
Yeah.
I think a simple game.
It's everyone's always better on the driving range because on the driving range you're just free swinging on a level mat with the same consistency. When you get on to the golf course, it's all right. There's a chunk of grass here. How's it going to affect my lie? I'm on an uphill, downhill slope.
I'm hitting it in between 4 trees.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's fun.
So
it's a big part of business, though, which I found. Like, I wish I knew that sooner, right? Like, I feel like there's so many good relationships that get developed. You get that 4 hours, generally 4 hours of uninterrupted time with people. So I fell into it as of late, but I'm starting to really appreciate the time that, you get out there.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's cool because you're not just focused on talking about one thing when you're out there. Yeah. It's, oh, good shot. Hey, what club did you use? Blah, 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 blah. And then you can kind of parlay that into a conversation about work. And then you can then you have your next shot that you got to talk about. So it's kind of, you can fragment conversation so something doesn't feel drawn out. And also if you're not vibing with the topic, it's so easy to end that topic and go to something different by talking about something different. So it's a way that you're in a cart with one person the whole time, but then the other cart's always going to be there on the green, and so you can mutually have conversations. You can talk one-on-one. It's a great way to just kind of know someone too, and I feel like the tension's always a lot less than if you're in a more formal setting. Even
unless you get the one player, because I go out there have fun, but you get the one player who's like really hard on themselves. Yeah, and it's like calm down. Yeah. Makes it too stressed.
Yeah, we all stink.
It's like we all stink.
Yeah, we're just here to have a couple drinks and have some fun and a little exercise.
Absolutely. Holidays are coming up, Thanksgiving, Christmas. I mean, is there any traditions that you and the fam?
We host. So we actually just put our tree up
early.
On Sunday yesterday, but not decorated.
not putting anything up until December. Yeah.
So we always put the tree up now, but then we'll decorate the tree Thanksgiving Eve. So instead of that being the biggest party day, once my wife and I realized that we can't go out and party anymore, we made that our tree decorating night. So we always get a really nice bottle of wine. Yeah. This year she requested Tiganello, so I want to get Tiganello. Okay. We'll have a nice bottle of wine. I always make a whole bunch of apps.
Love that.
I'll make them mini crab cakes, seared scallops, some small plates. So we eat, we drink, the kids run around, have fun. We start decorating the tree. Now they're getting a little bit older. They can start to help out a little bit more. Yeah. Although I'm sure the 2-year-old will just be throwing things all over the place. Then Thanksgiving we host. This will be we had our house in 2018. So this will be our 5th or 6th year hosting.
Oh, nice.
And I'm a big cook, so everyone kind of just lets me do my thing.
That's good.
They kind of stay out of my kitchen. They know if they come in my kitchen, they're going to feel my wrath.
Yeah.
I cook. We have the homemade wine that we make at our house. So I put out, a ton of wine. People are drinking that. Football games are on. People kind of bring some appetizers and some small plates while we're kind of getting things ready. I make 2 turkeys. We have at least 20 people. And,
do you deep fry one?
I do not. I've never had a deep fried turkey.
Talk about insurance.
Never had.
It's good. It's freaking good, but it's an insurance nightmare. We're like literally the mind goes. Well,
I'm sure
it's been years where we run a claims report the day after Thanksgiving, and there's never a year where there's not a house claim for a fire.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
It is delicious though, but it's a whole.
So that's the one that we host, and then
that's cool. And you're the cook. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I love to cook too. So
we don't eat out. We don't eat out a lot. With the kids, it makes it harder to get out of the house, and especially with the oldest or the youngest being just under 2. It's just also, if we do go out, we kind of feel like we're taking back from them and be able to enjoy themselves.
No, I agree.
Kind of stuck at a table. I think that. So, and we don't order a lot.
That's so good. It's so good.
So we love to cook at home.
So important.
We like flavors. We know what we like. So we make we make Italian, we make American, we make Chinese, we make.
And in the grand
Mexican.
scheme of things, it's like if you know how to cook and you like to cook, there's like 2 things. You can know how to cook, but you don't like to cook. Well, it's actually the most cost effective.
Yeah.
Like nowadays, like you go out, you're spending at least let's just say you and your wife will party. It's at least a couple $100.
Oh, easy.
And you're having some wine, you're having some apps and all this. So I'm a firm believer in, if you like to cook, you know how to cook, and you do. I think that's great. And it also, you're enjoying your home.
Yeah.
Like there's so many people that, that I know have these beautiful homes, and I feel like they work themselves to death. On the weekends, they're out either at the bar, drinking, going to the restaurants, doing stuff. It's like, you look around, sometimes you don't take the time to enjoy the home.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important.
My wife's big on that.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's when you're always on the go. That's when, it's just chaotic.
Yeah.
So we take time, especially a lot of Sundays. My wife, a lot of times,
I'm a big
Sundays is we're going to be home. During Eagle season, it's Daddy's going to watch the football game. We're all around, but I always make a big pot of sauce.
That's awesome.
We do our pasta, sausage, meatballs. We do all that on Sundays. That's kind of like our Sunday thing that we do. The boys know that we're going to be around. We'll do our food shopping together in the morning.
I do the same thing.
Get set up for the week and just kind of.
This is probably weird as hell, but like I moved away from my favorite girl. It's a giant, like it's nothing too crazy, but I know all the people that work at that store, and like I know like the produce director and all this stuff. Because like I think it's like bring me back to like when my grandfather was around and we all grew up in South Philly. Like he would take me to the market and he knew everybody. So I moved away from that giant. I'm like 25 minutes away from this giant. I still go there every Sunday morning. I still go there every Sunday morning. And then my girlfriend, she's like, "Why the hell are we driving all the way over here?" She's like, "We have a giant less than 5 minutes down the street." Right. She's like, "No, this is my giant."
Yeah.
And I can go in there. I could be in there and out there in 10 to 15 minutes. I know where everything is. Yep. And they got the guy in the back in the produce. Tony's going back there. He's grabbing his stuff. He's like, "Don't buy that broccoli. Buy this one."
Right.
Like that's I don't know. But I also like to cook. Sundays are my day. Obviously,
what's your go-to meal?
Sundays we did this Sunday we did pasta fazool.
Nice.
Yeah, but so Kelly, she's a vegetarian, so I did like a seafood take on it. I got some scallops.
There you go.
And browned some scallops and put it in the pasta fazool. Had that. What else do we do? We do a lot of stir fry Italian. We do hibachi. We could do hibachi off the Blackstone, stuff like that. I'm big, like I like the smoker. Yeah. Smoke some ribs and stuff. So I think, but until I started really putting time into the home, we built a bar upstairs on the top floor. So like, it's like you spend so much time and energy, building a life so that you can enjoy the place that you live. It's like, spend some time in it.
Yeah.
Like this year was probably the first year where I really dedicated my Sundays to just chilling at the house. And I was just like, this feels so great.
And that's what I tell people.
I think it's just getting older, but whatever.
Yeah, definitely.
It is rough.
But I tell people that too, like, especially with where the prices and the interest rates are and the money that you're spending. And they're like, "Oh my God, we're going to be house poor." I tell people all the time, like, that's not a bad thing in a way. Okay, so you're not going to go out. You're going to enjoy the home that you just bought. You're going to enjoy making it a home, because I have a ton of clients that say, "Our house." Yeah. I'm like, it's not your house. It should be your home. Like, paint it, change the floors,
put a pool in. Oh, that's gonna be cool. I'm gonna be over.
Oh man,
that pool is awesome. But it's so great with the kids though. Like
I hang
pool
out
party.
there.
Yeah,
pool party.
After dark.
Yeah.
Well, I grew up in a house in Langhorne, and it was new construction, so it was built 5 months before I was born. And if I could go back in time and be, I guess, just if I could advance my career and had more financial upside to buy that house before my parents sold it, that's probably be the biggest accomplishment, and
Yeah.
that's probably still one of like I don't have many regrets, but that's
Right.
probably still one of the regrets. And I'll around the Thanksgiving and Christmas time, I'll drive through that same neighborhood, and I know the people that are in it, and it was
Yeah.
so weird. Like they were like they're nice, and they were like, "Hey, like, didn't you live here?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah." One year they took me in, and I actually walked through the old house that I
Oh,
was
that's
in, and my
cool.
sister was with me. We looked through some of the stuff, but like
That's
that was
cool.
the house I grew up in.
Yeah.
We had a pool in the backyard. It was like beautiful four bedroom home. I mean, at that time, like we made it. Like
Yeah.
I loved that home. And yeah, I think it's really important because as your kids grow up, like they're building memories there. You and your
Mm-hmm.
wife are building memories. So, realtor is what you are, but you also are selling something that is a lot more deep,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
So,
And that's what we kind of focus on. And I love showing my clients pictures of my home. So when we're going through and they're like, well, I don't know what to do with this space. I'll
here's
pull up
what
my
I can
phone.
do.
Hey, look at this bar that we just put in. So,
That's cool.
our front room, everyone thinks, oh, the front room is the living room. Our front room's our dining room because our back room, which is off the kitchen, that's now the boys' playroom.
Got it.
And then when we finish the basement and they get a little bit older and they can head downstairs, that'll become a lounge off of the dining room. So then we'll kind of
Yeah.
have like the adult
It's going to
side of the house.
change, and it's going to
And it's going
change,
to
right?
evolve. And I tell people, like, it's okay to spend money in your home. It's okay to make mistakes and learn and evolve and change. And if this room is only going to be this for just a temporary short period of time, okay, we'll make it that.
Yeah.
And then when you're ready to grow and move on from that part of your life and what you needed that room to be, then change it out.
Are you confident in the location? Like, do you feel like this is this your forever home?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, we bought a foreclosure 4 months before our wedding. Funny enough, just kind of worked out time-wise. It was great. It was crazy. It was chaos.
Let's go all in.
But it was bare bones.
Okay.
It was sound house. It's people think foreclosure, they think, holes in the walls and it was falling apart. It was just a bank-owned property. In a great neighborhood. We have a great lot. So it was, let's buy it, let's do floors and paint. And then we'll figure out the next project. And then every couple months, it's, good quarter in real estate. We save a couple bucks. All right, let's change the bathroom. Save up a couple bucks. Let's do this.
Smart.
Now that we've been there since 2018, it's been 6 years, and we've done roof, both HVACs, a couple of front door, back door.
That's great.
Floors, paint. Put the pool in.
That's
put
awesome.
in a patio with a gas fire pit. It's you get to enjoy it and do more. Then you get to host, and it's just let's go to Steve's and Shannon's house. It's a cool spot to be.
I love it. That's awesome. So it's good to hear that because you have so many. And my parents, they're retired, but they turned into flippers in their later years. Like they bought and sold properties in South Jersey and Florida now over the past like 10 years. And I'm like, why won't you just find a place and like it enough to not have to move?
Right.
But I feel like they're always like, they're always stressed because they're always worrying about, fixing this place up and then looking for another place, listing this place and buying this place. They have a property right now in the Crest that's up for sale.
Nice.
My guy, Zach Rufo from DeSantis got it up there, but like they're stressed. They're like, who's getting offers? Who's doing this? Where are we going next? Can we sell it fast enough to get the condo? I'm like, come on. I'm like, you guys really like you don't have enough time to enjoy the home that they flipped,
right.
So, but look, that keeps them busy.
Yeah.
I'll put it that way.
That's awesome.
So if you're listening, Mom, just keep doing what you're doing. I know it keeps you guys busy.
Keep grinding.
But it's not for me. I just want to, I want to definitely find my place. And I think currently right now I'm probably in a transition period where, the HOA, the property that I'm in is probably going to be a stepping stone for something larger. But I commend what you and your wife and your kids are doing. You're every year incrementally making it more of a home and not a house.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we have a couple minutes here. Are there any other shout outs, any final thoughts? I always do the Jerry final thoughts.
So yeah, I would say as we're coming down to the year and the election is almost here and over with, I think that's going to make Facebook and the ads and everything just kind of calm down a bit. 2025 is going to be a year for me, and I kind of would like for other people to just kind of take a step back and just take a deep breath and some stress relief. I feel like the election has just caused so much tension with people. You see just the battles on Facebook, whether what side you're on. Once we finally have the next president, hopefully that brings a little bit more clarity to the country and a little bit more tension release, and people just kind of take a deep breath. I feel like there's a lot of hostility out there, and whether it's in the workplace or socially, just, you know, enjoy each other, enjoy the time that you have with each other. That's what we're focusing on in my household, is just a lot less stress, a lot more enjoyment, a lot more spending time together. My son's second birthday, we decided not to throw him a birthday party. We're going to go on a trip.
Nice.
Whether somewhere close, local, but just spend time with the family, and enjoy what you have. You know, I feel like another thing with social media is always comparing to whether it's another realtor, how much business they do, or how big someone's house is, or how big this is, or what the car they have. It's just enjoy what you have, because, you know, every day is a blessing, and, you know, just live a stress-free life and just enjoy it.
And for what you see on social media, right? A lot of people they're posting their wins, but they're not posting the losses. Take everything with a grain of salt that you see on there.
Absolutely.
Unless it's REMCO Real Talk podcast, because that's all real. And it's all good stuff.
It's always
Steve, thanks so much for being on, man.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it. All right, we're good here. Later.